The 1990s were a time of simple joys and endless afternoons. Mornings meant cartoons on VHS, afternoons were filled with bike rides and games in empty lots, and evenings glowed with flashlights, fireflies, and the hum of small-town life. Every street corner held a secret adventure, every radio song felt like magic, and everyday moments, from arcades to paper fortune tellers, created memories that shimmered with warmth and nostalgia. In 1990s, I remember those Saturday mornings like they were yesterday. The sun would barely peek through my bedroom window, and there I'd be, clutching a VHS tape, waiting for the cartoons to start. There was something magical about rewinding and playing the same episode over and over, the colors and laughter filling the room with joy. And calling friends on the landline. You had to hope they were home, and sometimes I'd pace back and forth, holding the receiver, praying they'd pick up. Every answered call felt like a small adventure, a bridge to another world just a few streets away. Riding our bikes until the street lights flickered on was freedom itself. The wind on your face, racing past familiar houses, laughing with friends, feeling like the whole town belonged to us. Nights would settle in gently, and only then did we reluctantly pedal back home. I can still picture the lunchroom, with pogs spread across the table, the satisfying slam echoing as we competed for the rarest pieces. It felt like the most important tournament in the world, and everyone's eyes sparkled with the same fierce, innocent excitement. And late at night, I'd hide under my covers with a flashlight and a choose-your-own-adventure book, tiptoeing through worlds that were mine alone. The thrill of making choices, living the story, and hoping the light wouldn't give me away. It was magic, pure and simple. Ah, dial-up internet. Now that was a sound that could make your heart race. That screeching, beeping melody meant the world was opening up, slowly but surely. And I'd sit there, waiting, sometimes for what felt like hours, until the connection finally took me somewhere new. I remember the patience it took to wait for my favorite song on the radio, clutching a blank cassette, fingers poised over the record button. The thrill when the song finally played, racing to capture every second before it disappeared into the static, made it feel like pure treasure. VHS rental stores were little kingdoms of imagination. Towering shelves of tapes, handwritten late-fee slips, and the smell of plastic and popcorn, walking through those aisles felt like entering a place where anything was possible. Every visit was an adventure, a treasure hunt waiting to happen. Oh, Tamagotchis. Those little digital pets were a constant worry, feeding them, cleaning up after them, never forgetting them. It was like carrying a tiny responsibility in your pocket. I remember the panic of hearing a beep and realizing I had neglected them for too long. Making mixtapes with a pencil, carefully winding the cassette to avoid tangles, was an art form. Each tape was a story, a mood, a secret message in music for friends or crushes. The hours spent creating them felt like hours well spent in pure, quiet joy. Trading Beanie Babies on the playground was our own little economy. Whispered negotiations, secret swaps behind the swings, it all felt serious and monumental. Those plush toys, soft and colorful, were more than toys. They were passports to friendship, excitement, and a tiny sense of grown-up responsibility. Lunches in paper bags and thermos bottles always had a flavor of home. Opening that lunchbox brought comfort, a reminder that someone cared, that life had small, dependable joys. Sitting with friends, swapping bites or stories, made the cafeteria feel like a warm, bustling world of its own. Trading baseball cards after school or at the corner store was like participating in a secret society. Each card had a story, a legacy, a piece of magic, and exchanging them with friends made you feel like a tiny, important part of something bigger than yourself. Watching our small-town parades, waving at everyone we knew, felt like being wrapped in a living quilt of community. Floats, marching bands, and familiar faces all blending together. It made the town feel alive, cozy, and infinitely connected, like the world itself had slowed down just for us. And those glow-in-the-dark stars on ceilings. I'd lie in bed, tracing the constellations with my eyes, dreaming of galaxies and adventures far beyond our little town. They twinkled like tiny wishes, filling the night with hope, imagination, and the comfort of familiar rooms. Hearing your pager beep with a mysterious number was thrilling. You'd clutch it, heart racing, wondering who it could be, and rushing to decipher the digits. It was suspense wrapped in a small device, a promise of connection, and secret messages waiting to be discovered. Learning computer basics on those chunky beige desktops felt monumental. The hum of the machine, the green text blinking on a black screen, and the thrill of typing commands. It was like holding a key to the future, a window into a world that was only just beginning. I can still picture kids running around in windbreakers and slap bracelets, feeling stylish and proud. It was more than clothing, it was identity, a tiny spark of self-expression that marked our place in the world, a shared signal among friends of who we were. School field trips to local factories or dairy farms felt like grand adventures. We learned how the world worked, smelled fresh hay, watched machines churn, and came home with sticky fingers and awe in our eyes. Every trip was a mix of education, exploration, and wonder, and those Saturday morning cartoons, interrupted endlessly by cereal commercials, were a ritual. The jingles, the mascots, the sugar-spun excitement, they all blended into a cozy symphony of childhood, filling homes with laughter, chaos, and the sweet reminder that weekends were ours to savor. Those local diners with their shiny jukeboxes. I remember dropping nickels in and watching the little light dance as our favorite songs played. The smell of fries and syrup mingled with the music, and it felt like the whole town paused just for that moment of joy. Borrowing CDs from the small library was an adventure in itself. You'd carefully choose a title, almost reverently, knowing that your weekend soundtrack depended on it. Each album felt like a treasure chest, and returning it later always came with a little pang of nostalgia. Folding paper fortune tellers and trading secrets inside was our way of whispering magic into the world. Each fold held promises, dares, and little mysteries. I'd giggle with friends, sharing fortunes and tiny confessions, feeling like we had created a secret language that belonged only to us. Summer lemonade stands were everywhere, and the simple act of squeezing lemons and selling sweet, chilled drinks felt like entrepreneurship and adventure rolled into one. I'd watch neighborhood kids come by, pockets jingling with coins, and the warmth of sun and friendship made the days feel endless. Playing kickball in the vacant lots behind houses was the highlight of any afternoon. We'd scrape our knees, chase every ball, and shout at each other in the most spirited ways. Those empty lots were our stadiums, and every game felt like a championship match. Renting Nintendo 64 or SNES cartridges for the weekend was like unlocking a portal to another world. We'd huddle around the TV, fingers flying over buttons, cheering and groaning with every level. The thrill of bringing a new game home for a few days was pure, unfiltered excitement. Watching the town council meetings in person was something else entirely. We'd perch on hard chairs, trying to look important, listening to debates that seemed far beyond our age. There was a strange fascination in seeing our parents and neighbors discussing the world, a lesson in civic life we didn't even know we were learning. Chalk outlines of hopscotch and Foursquare on cracked sidewalks were everywhere. Knees chalked and hands smeared, we'd play until the lines faded in the rain. Every jump and toss carried laughter, minor rivalries, and the kind of simple fun that never really gets old. Homemade snow forts in front yards during winter storms felt like secret kingdoms. We'd pile snow high, carve tunnels, and defend our territories with laughter echoing across the street. Cold fingers and red cheeks didn't matter. Those forts were worlds we ruled with imagination and glee. Watching local access TV for quirky homemade shows was always a treat. You never knew what you'd find, talented neighbors, odd productions, or strange local personalities. But it felt personal, like a window into the heart of our community that no national channel could ever provide. Mom or Dad clipping coupons from newspapers for the weekly grocery run was like a ritual. Sitting at the kitchen table, scissors in hand, folding papers just right, we learned patience, careful planning, and the joy of little victories when the total at the checkout came in lower than expected. Collecting pogs or stickers at the corner store felt like discovering treasure. Every trip held possibilities, a new rare piece waiting to be found. The anticipation, the trade, the thrill of showing your friends, it made the simple walk to the store feel like a grand adventure. Lunchroom debates over Pepsi or Coke were epic. Friends would argue passionately, each defending their choice as if the fate of the world depended on it. Those tiny disagreements, filled with laughter and mock seriousness, were moments of bonding and playful rivalry I'll never forget. Trading cassette tapes with handwritten track lists was more than sharing music. It was sharing pieces of ourselves. I'd spend hours writing down songs just so a friend could experience the same feelings, hoping they'd understand the stories woven between each note and lyric. Library book sales with tables of dusty, forgotten treasures were like stepping into a secret garden. Old covers, forgotten stories, and musty pages called to you. Every purchase was a tiny discovery, a whisper from the past that promised hours of quiet escape and imagination. Memorizing the lyrics of cheesy pop songs before CDs were common was a pastime that brought joy in its purest form. We'd sing along in bedrooms and schoolyards, sometimes off-key, but always with heart, creating little performances that felt larger than life. Wearing overalls with one strap undone just because it was cool was a statement I took seriously. It was our way of being rebels in a small world, asserting personality in subtle ways. Friends would nod in approval, and somehow it made walking down Main Street feel like a runway. The thrill of the ice cream truck jingles passing down the street was unmatched. You'd hear that familiar tune and run barefoot across lawns, coins in hand, hearts pounding with anticipation. That moment of grabbing your favorite treat while the music faded behind you was pure childhood magic. Watching Saturday Night Wrestling on basic cable was a spectacle. The exaggerated moves, the loud announcers, and the crowd's roars pulled us into a world of drama and excitement. We'd argue over heroes and villains, completely captivated by the stories unfolding in our living rooms. Playing Oregon Trail and hoping your pixelated family survived was a mix of suspense and strategy. You'd worry about dysentery and river crossings as if your digital choices carried real weight, laughing and groaning together when disaster struck. Somehow, those blocky adventures felt incredibly real and important. I remember covering every inch of my bedroom walls with posters of boy bands and grunge bands alike. Each one felt like a declaration of who I was, a mix of rebellion and admiration. And at night, lying under their gaze, it felt like my heroes were keeping watch over me. Those tiny plastic charm bracelets from gas stations were treasures. I'd trade them with friends, stacking them on my wrist until they jingled with every movement. Each little trinket felt magical, like holding a secret world in the palm of my hand. Waiting in line at the local arcade for a turn on Mortal Kombat was pure suspense. The air smelled of popcorn and machine oil, friends cheering and groaning with each fight. When it was finally your turn, your heart would race, fingers ready, adrenaline buzzing like a drum. Drawing on the backs of cereal boxes during breakfast was one of life's quiet joys. While spooning milk and crunching flakes, I'd sketch little worlds, doodles, or secret messages. It felt like owning a private universe hidden behind cardboard, waiting for someone to discover. I tried to balance a Rubik's Cube in the car on the way to school more times than I can count. Fingers twisting, brain racing, the world outside a blur. It was a challenge, a game of patience and pride, and somehow every solved side felt like a small triumph. Playing laser tag at the town mall on weekends was an adventure of its own. Darkness, fog, and colored lights made the world feel like a battleground, and darting from corner to corner with friends, our laughter echoing, gave a taste of thrill that only youth could savor. Making friendship bracelets from embroidery thread was an art of care. We'd sit for hours, knotting colors in secret patterns, giving them to friends as symbols of trust and connection. Each bracelet carried a little piece of heart and the promise that we'd always be close. Watching our local high school talent show in the gym was mesmerizing. The small stage, buzzing with nervous energy, showcased everything from piano solos to wild dances. We cheered like family, proud and amused, laughing at mistakes and marveling at the courage of our peers. Listening to mixed CDs while driving to town with friends was a ritual of freedom. Windows down, music blasting, singing along at the top of our lungs. It felt like the open road belonged to us, and the soundtrack of our youth played in perfect harmony with every mile. Playing flashlight tag after dark with the whole neighborhood was thrilling. Shadows danced across fences, kids darted through yards, laughter echoing in the night. Each gleam of light revealed fleeting glimpses of friends, and the game turned ordinary streets into enchanted playgrounds. Local church bake sales were more than a place to grab cookies. They were a social hotspot. Friends lingered over tables of pies and brownies, trading stories and smiles. The smell of sugar and community wrapped the town together in a warm, comforting embrace. Eating candy from a penny candy jar at the corner store was pure delight. Reaching in, fingertips brushing the sugary treasures. The thrill of choosing something small but magical. It was sweetness in every sense, a tiny, memorable indulgence. Learning rollerblading tricks on cracked sidewalks was both daring and thrilling. We'd wobble, fall, and try again, the scrape of pavement and the rush of wind teaching patience, balance, and the joy of mastering something just beyond our reach. Watching movies on VHS, rewound with the fast-forward and play trick, was a careful art. We'd sit with bated breath, trying to get every second of the story just right, rewinding and forwarding with care, learning patience while savoring the magic of cinema. Playing board games like Mystery Mansion on rainy afternoons felt like being transported to another world. The dice, the cards, the suspense. It was an escape, a way to weave stories and share laughter without leaving the warmth of home. Summer carnivals at the county fairgrounds were bursts of color and sound. Homemade rides creaked under our excitement, cotton candy melted on fingers, and every game held the promise of prizes and memories that lingered long after the music faded. Trading stickers or patches from cereal boxes or soda bottles was our tiny economy of fun. Each swap felt like negotiation, discovery, and victory. And every sticker or patch held a story that made our afternoons endlessly entertaining. Riding in the back of a pickup truck to get around town felt like flying. The wind whipped through hair and laughter, the streets blurring past, and for a few minutes everything felt weightless, like the world belonged to us alone. Borrowing a neighbor's VHS to watch a movie was a special treat. Carefully handling the tape, returning it on time, and watching the film together felt like participating in a secret club, one bound by friendship and shared excitement. Listening to static-filled local radio stations for top 40 hits was an adventure in itself. You never knew exactly what would come through the crackle, but when your favorite song finally burst through, it felt like a private gift, a moment suspended in time. I remember watching our local news anchors on TV and feeling like they were part of the family. Their voices were familiar, their faces comforting, and it felt like they knew our town's heartbeat as well as we did. Evening news was never just information, it was a ritual. Making shadow puppets with a flashlight in the bedroom was one of those simple joys that felt magical. The walls became forests and castles, and our hands transformed into dragons, birds, and heroes. We'd giggle quietly, inventing stories that stretched long into the night. Wearing slap bracelets or jelly shoes to school was serious business. They jingled and clacked with every step, a little declaration of style and personality. Trading them or showing off a new design felt like a rite of passage, a way to belong and stand out at the same time. Using disposable cameras and waiting a week to see the photos was pure anticipation. Every click captured a memory frozen in time, and opening the envelope felt like unwrapping little treasures. Some shots were blurry or awkward, but that only made them more precious. Having sleepovers in a friend's living room with snacks and movies was an adventure in itself. We'd pile blankets on the floor, whisper secrets in the dark, and stay up way past our bedtime, feeling like the world existed only for us and our laughter. Trading comic books at the school library was an unofficial ceremony. We'd huddle over stacks of colorful pages, swapping heroes and villains, and in doing so, shared stories and dreams that seemed bigger than our small town. Every trade was a mini celebration. Watching small-town parades where everyone knew your name was like stepping into a living storybook. Floats, marching bands, and neighbors' smiling faces filled the streets, making us feel seen, connected, and like we truly belonged to a place that cared about each of its own. Roller skating at the local rink on Friday nights was an exhilarating escape. The whir of wheels, the flashing lights, the sound of laughter and music. It was freedom on wheels, a place to glide, spin, and just be young, alive, and part of something vibrant. Swapping stories around a bonfire in a neighbor's yard was pure magic. The flames flickered on our faces as we whispered tales, exaggerated adventures, and silly jokes. The warmth of the fire and friends made even ordinary nights feel extraordinary and infinite. Filling up sticker books with scratch and sniff or holographic stickers was a treasured pastime. Each sticker was a prize, a small joy that made afternoons shine. We'd flip through pages, showing off our collection, comparing, trading, and reveling in the tiny wonders of our youth. Hanging out at the local soda fountain after school was a ritual of sweetness and laughter. Milkshakes, sundaes, and friendly chatter filled the air, and every visit was a reminder that simple pleasures and community could make even ordinary afternoons unforgettable. Memorizing TV commercial jingles for contests at school was a strange but delightful obsession. We'd hum tunes, recite taglines, and compete to see who remembered every word. It was silly, yes, but it tied us together in laughter, challenge, and a shared cultural rhythm. Playing tetherball or dodgeball in schoolyards during recess was pure exhilaration. The clatter of the ball, the rush of running, the cheers and groans. It was a small, thrilling battlefield where victories and defeats felt monumental, and friendships were forged in motion and laughter. Watching local talent shows on public access cable was charmingly unpredictable. Amateur acts, quirky performances, and earnest attempts made the screen alive with energy. We'd watch, laugh, cheer, and feel pride in seeing familiar faces daring to shine, even if just for a few minutes. Making elaborate forts from couch cushions and blankets transformed living rooms into kingdoms. Pillows became walls, blankets roofs, and imagination ruled every corner. We'd hide, play, and create secret worlds where time slowed, and childhood felt endless and limitless. Trying to beat your high score on an arcade pinball machine was an obsession. Every flick, tilt, and bounce mattered. The clinking of the silver ball and the flashing lights carried tension, joy, and the simple thrill of mastery, all wrapped up in the glow of arcade magic. Collecting cassette singles and trading them with friends was a passion. Each tape was a snapshot of a moment, a song frozen in time. Swapping them felt like passing stories between us, and every new beat brought laughter, nostalgia, and a shared heartbeat of youth. Spending afternoons building model airplanes or cars was meditative and thrilling all at once. Tiny hands and focused eyes pieced together miniature worlds. The pride in completing one, the triumph of making it move or fly. It was creativity, patience, and joy bundled together. Chasing fireflies during warm summer evenings was pure wonder. Tiny lights flickered in the dark, and we'd run barefoot through grass, catching and releasing them, feeling like we were holding stars in our hands. Those nights shimmered with magic that only childhood could hold. Watching local baseball games and cheering for the team tied us to our town in a unique way. Every crack of the bat, every cheer from the bleachers, every familiar face in the crowd made us feel part of a story bigger than ourselves, stitched together with community and pride. Trading school supplies decorated with stickers or doodles was a little world of creativity and camaraderie. Pencil boxes, notebooks, and folders became treasures, each design showing off personality. Swapping them with friends felt like passing a piece of yourself, and every trade left a smile and a story behind. Wearing branded denim jackets or jean vests was a statement in our small town. We'd strut a little taller, feeling stylish and part of something bigger, proud to show off patches, pins, or logos. Those jackets weren't just clothes. They were identity, confidence, and youth stitched together. Using rotary dial or early push-button phones at home required patience and care. Twisting the dial, listening to the clicks, and waiting for a connection made every call feel important. Each conversation was intentional, and the world outside our house suddenly felt reachable, one careful number at a time. Watching MTV for music videos instead of streaming was magical. The screen flickered with color, energy, and style. We'd sit mesmerized by dancers, bands, and vibrant sets, learning lyrics, moves, and trends, feeling as though the world of pop culture was just within our grasp. Memorizing the phone numbers of every friend in town was a secret skill we all carried. Scribbled in notebooks or etched into memory, each number was a lifeline to laughter, plans, or emergencies. It made the town feel connected, like a map of friendship we could carry in our heads. Playing Red Rover or Simon Says in the schoolyard brought chaos and delight. We'd run, dodge, and follow commands with gleeful seriousness. Every broken chain or successful jump was celebrated with shrieks of laughter, and the games felt like epic battles of wits and agility. Picking up penny candy at the corner drugstore on the way home was a tiny thrill. Fingers hovering over glass jars filled with colors and sugar, we'd choose with care, savoring every sweet bite. It was simple, inexpensive magic that made ordinary afternoons sparkle. Creating secret codes with friends using notebooks felt like espionage and adventure combined. Hidden messages, clever symbols, and whispered secrets transformed our notebooks into private worlds. Passing them back and forth, decoding and giggling, made friendship feel mysterious, powerful, and deeply important. Trading glow sticks or fluorescent necklaces at school dances was pure joy. The colors spun in the dark, wrists and necks glittering under lights. Every swap felt exciting. Like claiming a small treasure while the music pulsed, and the dance floor became a world of friendship and fun. Playing Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat at local arcades was electrifying. Fingers flying over buttons, the screen flashing with energy, and friends cheering. It was all strategy, reflex, and a little bit of bravado. Winning felt like glory, losing a lesson, and every match was a story worth retelling. Watching cable TV for Saturday morning anime shows was a ritual of wonder. Bright colors, strange worlds, and dramatic heroes filled our living rooms, captivating our imagination. We'd wake early, snacks in hand, eyes glued to the screen, hearts racing with every epic moment. Riding go-karts at small-town amusement centers was a rush of freedom, The wind whipped past our faces, engines roared beneath us, and the track blurred as we raced friends and siblings. Every lap carried laughter, adrenaline, and that delicious sense of speed that made childhood feel limitless. Making paper airplanes and flying them across classrooms was quiet rebellion and creativity combined. Folding each one with care, we'd launch them with precision, watching them glide and twirl. Sometimes they landed perfectly, sometimes in disaster, but every flight was a tiny adventure. Collecting stickers from soda cans or candy wrappers was a thrill of discovery. Every label held a promise, a design to admire, trade, or add to a growing collection. It turned ordinary snacks into treasures, and each sticker carried memories of afternoons spent hunting and swapping. Using encyclopedia sets instead of Wikipedia was an exercise in patience and wonder. We'd flip through thick pages, tracing letters and images, learning about faraway places and strange creatures. There was a tactile joy in the rustle of pages and the quiet thrill of discovery that the internet could never replace. Watching town fireworks from the local park was magical. The sky lit up in bursts of color, neighbors cheering together, and the smell of smoke and popcorn in the air. Sitting on blankets, shoulder to shoulder with friends and family, those moments felt eternal, a collective heartbeat of celebration. Playing marbles in the gravel alleys behind houses was a small but intense world of skill. Knuckling the marbles, aiming for victory, and clattering them across stones, it was strategy, dexterity, and luck rolled into one. Every win felt monumental, every loss a lesson in persistence. Using payphones when your parents weren't home was both exciting and nerve-wracking. We'd clutch coins and try to remember exact numbers, praying the line didn't drop. Each successful call was a little triumph of independence, a secret step into the wider world beyond our doorstep. Practicing roller skating moves to music in empty parking lots was joy in motion. We'd spin, glide, and race, the echoes of laughter bouncing off pavement and walls. The freedom of empty space and music made even simple tricks feel like mastery, and every fall was a lesson in resilience. Attending church socials and potlucks as major community events felt like stepping into warmth itself. Tables groaned with pies and casseroles, neighbors swapped stories, and children ran laughing between them. The events wove everyone together, making the town feel alive with friendship, faith, and simple shared happiness.